All true, all true. We've got the same blood running through our veins, we've got the same blood running through our veins, we've got the same blood running through our veins, but we are not the same. Your name's Mud, the game's up, it's a lame duck. You might think we're the same, but we're not. And so what I want from here is for you to be nowhere near. I never want to hear your name. We are not the same. 50% of my blood is my mum's. It's the only half of my blood that still runs. Your half is too cold. Tried to donate it. They said it ran no cold. Took it to a blood bank. It could not be sold. And now it sits in a blood bag, growing mold. I tried to cut you off with an elastic band around my arm. At first I thought it was working like a charm, but then my hand started to resemble a bird shit balm, and I thought, nah, this is stupid. I don't have to cut my arm off to spite you just to prove it. Like a bad attitude, I can change it if I choose to and lose it. So I'll take that analogy, thank you, and use it. We've got the same blood running through our veins. We've got the same blood running through our veins. We've got the same blood running through our veins. I am not to blame, and we are not the same. And oh no, not this again. Your name coming up in conversation, I have to explain the situation. If I'm a train, I'm going nowhere near your station unless you're lying on the tracks. And I'll go through once and reverse right back. We've got the same blood running through our veins. We've got the same blood running through our veins. We've got the same blood running through our veins. And we are not the same. Thank you. So that first one is obviously a point about how much I love my dad. Top bloke. But like that. A couple of years ago, it was actually after the Robbie Savage thing, and grabbed me afterwards for a pint and I'll tell you the full story. I had a heart attack. So it might not look like the sort of person that have a massive heart attack, but at the end of 2022, so nearly 2 years ago, it nearly killed me. And just before I had the heart attack, I wrote this poem that's coming next. It's called Old Wood, and there's a line in it that turned out to be quite prophetic. That's prophetic, not pathetic, although you can be the judge of that. And the line was, the rot has now sunk deep enough to reach the core. And then a couple of months later, with or without Mr. Savage's influence, the rot did reach the core. So it's called Old Wood. Just do the fucking poem, Culain, yeah? I am taller now, late growth spurt. Legs like gnarled oaks and they both hurt. And to tell you the truth, they don't work anywhere nearly as well as they should. That's how it goes with Old Wood. They should have cut me down and turned me into logs, put me out in the shed with the dogs, and by now, I should be with the sods of peat. Just another source of heat. There are more knots in the trunk, and the rot has now sunk deep enough to reach the core, and pieces of me drop to the floor. Children pick them up and then play with them, use my branches as swords and then slay with them. Insects crawl in the gap and then stay in them, where it's warm enough for eggs to be laid in them. But if you ask me, I'm okay with that. That's how it should be, as a matter of fact. Circle of life shit, so time passes, I've done my bit, ashes to ashes. But it's not over until I'm burning. You can rest on my roots. I'm still here, I'm still learning. There are new green shoots. Thank you very much. So yeah, like I said, I had a massive heart attack. Is anybody a fan of the NHS? I bet you don't like it as much as I do. So this one, it's got a bit of a shit title. It's just called Save the NHS, but is that a sentiment we can all agree with? Thank you. A bit of audience participation at the end as well if you're up for it. So it goes like this. I had a heart attack at 34, but I think the thing that hurt me more than the pain across my chest was the state of the NHS. They've ripped the heart out of that, carved it straight out the back. It's starved, but it's not like there's a lack of care. Money though, none there. How many MPs have used the NHS, never mind the cabinet? I don't just mean for photo opportunities, I'm not having it, because unless you've sat on a trolley, stacked 3 beds deep, it will be my advice that you best keep your hands off the purse strings and your opinions to yourself. This is an urgent matter of national health. We cut out cancers and we starve a fever, and actions and answers, and you give us neither, like an abusive missus, but you just can't leave her because you're in too deep and you still can't see her. Wood for the trees. It's no good for the knees, all this cap in hand begging stuff, just to make sure we get enough. Bedpans to piss in, there's no piss left to take. It's deliberate underfunding till there's no choice to make, and those that can afford it get privately insured. Because there's nothing else for it and no room on the ward where your nan is and where I am. They've forgotten that we're here. Plugged into the drip that ran out last year, that's an IV line of BS from a PM. You should go down there himself and see them, but it's not just the old, no. This is just the start. And exactly like the attack on my heart, they'll block the arteries and they'll stem the flow, so people like us have nowhere to go. No doctors, no ambulances, no paramedics, no nurses, so I'll put it in poems and stanzas and lyrics and verses. Do we need it, is the question. And the answer is? Yes. Thank you. Unless you've got a better suggestion, we need to save the NHS. Thank you very much. Thank Thank you. My name's Culain Wood. As Baz said, I was fortunate enough to be asked to play Glastonbury a couple of times. Have you heard of it? It's quite a small festival down in the southwest of England. But there's football on after, so this is even fucking better, so thank you very much for having me. This next postcode, there's a dog barking, and hopefully you can find something in it. It's not about a dog, there's the spoiler alert. There's a dog barking at the end of our street, and she swears that she can't hear it. There's the East Lancs and the motorway, and even they don't come near it in terms of deafening me and threatening me and making me close the curtain. It's confusing at times, like I'm choosing to mind, but I know it, and I'm certain that there's a dog bark at the end of our street and I can hear it in the night time. It always starts up and it never shuts up, and even though there's never a right time, it is an aggravating bark, and it is in agitating stark contrast to the noise and the hum that I used to hear, to the hum and the buzz that I used to fear when I could not hear that fucking dog barking. And I don't remember it starting. It was way before I moved over here. I've been hearing it now for 5 fucking years, and so the bastard must have followed me. And the noise has somehow hollowed me out, the person that I was, into a living, breathing shell. And a passerby with a naked eye would never be able to tell that all I can hear is a barking dog, on repeat, on snooze, on silent. And all I can think of when I hear that dog is a defeat, or to lose and to be violent. There's a dog barking at the end of our street and it hasn't got a lead on. It won't come out of the gate and it hasn't got out to feed on, so I go into the street to give it something to eat, but just as I call it to come, the barking will stop and the volume will drop. And I have to think of some other things to complain about, some other things to be in pain about, because I realise life's a dream without. The thing I go fucking insane without and could not possibly be Culain without is that fucking dog barking. It's louder than a bin lorry parking. It's more piercing than its claws that could stab me, and from the first minute I heard it, it had me, right where it wanted me to be. Pinned up in a corner for everyone to see. It's that lad who is a dog that no one else is. You must be mad to hear a dog when there are no dogs near. But there's a dog barking at the end of our street. Swear down. I'm telling you, there is. Thank you very much. Thank you. This next one's called Just What on Earth. And it's for my 2 little girls. Who are Hyde United fans, sorry about that. Just what on earth will I tell my girls when they're 24 and 19 about the way we've left the world for them, about the things they might have seen? When they're queuing up at the food bank or at the fountain for a drink, how will I explain that no matter what, we never took the time to think that eating meat and driving cars were things we could have done without? And even a breaking point and a point of realisation, we carried on and on in doubt of all the sceptics with their septic tanks full to bursting point with nonsense. And how we trusted the mistrusted, and we misjudged it in more than one sense because it's double and it's triple, it's 4 times worse than we thought. And at my age, we can't blame ignorance because we were at school, they taught us about the forests and the ozone and the greenhouse gas effect, about the oil and the dodo and the way nature selects the weak ones from the strong ones and washes them all out with a wave. Or is it the rich ones from the poor ones, and it's only the money that can save them from the disasters that their masters from overseas were underneath? And the same one sent to take them with the one sent to bring relief from the cholera and the chlorine that half the world would have to drink. While the other half, or even less, pretend that no one's on the brink of a precipice, as a bottomless pit, or on the tip of a floating block of ice that hides beneath the surface and you don't see it unless you look twice, but twice is 2 times too many when my smartphone starts to ping. When my hashtagging with the cash bagging that we're all about to bring in, and to homelessness and hostilities with a free meal and a warm embrace. When we should have been armed to the teeth and engaged in a barefoot fucking race from Manchester down the M6 straight to London in our droves to drive out the cockroaches and to string up my bungalow, but we didn't do it, sweethearts, because we had to go to work. So the planet's on its arse and the weather's gone berserk, but the fracking has just started. So we might be warm soon, as the riches and the bitches and the bastards move to the moons, creating a new haven for the depraved and the emotionally bereft, to escape civilization whilst the rest of us are left back on this planet that we inhabit and use as our dumping ground. And then we'll wait with bated breath until we hear the thumping sound of the missiles and the bidile chants of hatred and of war. And we'll lift our heads above the parapet like we should have done before to see your cousins by the dozens and your mum's good-looking mate fall by the wayside. And then when Dave died, well, we'll know it's too fucking late, won't we? Thank you very much. So that's the very worst of humanity. Sorry about that before kick-off. So I'm gonna follow up with the very best of humanity. So a very good friend of mine who is a poet and is a performer, he's called Anthony Schmerick. He's currently on tour with Faithless. He's fucking unreal. A while ago, he posted a picture of the sky at night, and he said, everybody just understands it, don't they? You know, when you're Instagram or whatever social media you're on, if someone posts a picture of the sky, you don't need to explain it. We all just understand that. He said it's peak human condition. And so I wrote a poem about it called Peak Human Condition, and I'm doing that thing again when I just need to say the fucking poem right now. If somebody could just tell me that, just say the fucking poem, that would be great. Save us all a lot of wasted time. Say the fucking poem, Culain. Okay, Peak Human Condition. It's a new one, so if I fuck it up, I don't give a shit. Okay, here we go. When everyone takes the same picture of the sky, all big and orange and patterned, it's like the Mandela effect, baby, but this time it really happened. That's a moment, that's a feeling, like we're going home and we're healing. And watching it play out in front of me in picture perfect vision is peak human condition. When there's flowers draped around lampposts, everyone's a politician. It's peak human condition. We can shape that, we can hone it, we can take that, we can own it, we can make it our ambition. It's peak human condition. It's like understanding each other when we haven't even met. Queuing up for hours in the rain or getting wet, it's a lack of detail. And then it's all of the specifics. It's like every single one of us trying to get Oasis tickets. It's an effort. It's a mission. It's peak human condition. And it's terminal by definition. It's a predisposition. It's peak human condition. Did you see the sky tonight? It's a kind of yellow light. Take a picture. It's tradition. It's peak human condition. Thank you very much. Thank you. I wasn't expecting such a receptive bunch of people at FC United, but thank you very much. I was going to wear my Hyde colours, but I thought better of it. And then I just told everybody the Robbie Savage story to get people on side, because everybody universally thinks he's a cunt. And if he wants to try and sue me again, Robbie, you're more than fucking welcome. 1-0 to me, you soft prick. This next one's called The Sneeze, and it's for my eldest girl. My eldest girl is 10. But she might as well be fucking 19, and it feels like 5 minutes ago she was 3. And this is called The Sneeze. We went for a drive that weekend, we went away, and it rained. You picked the music, and your sister just complained. But when I looked to my left, I saw you, right? Sitting in the same front seat, but in a different light. Older, growing up, in front of my eyes. You never hand squeezed your knees, I would have thought it all live, because you asked me if we had to play the clean versions of the songs. And I didn't even know if you knew why they were so wrong for little girls to listen to. So I just carried on driving and let your sister listen too. Until Beyonce came on. And the display screen showed her as naked as the day she was born, apart from a cowboy hat and a silver glove hat where knickers would usually be worn in. You just stared at that image and fuck knows what you must have been thinking when we were listening to her singing about all the things we were listening to her singing about. You just carried on dancing, singing along without a care in the world. But that won't last for so much longer. I felt it recently, but this brought it on so much stronger. You were kinda frozen in time, or sorta caught in between. The little girl used to hold on my chest, and a little girl becoming a teen with a million questions. Hardly any solutions, but infinite opinions to back off. So I back off, sit this one out. Watch you from the corner of my eye as you squirm a little in your seat, dancing still, rolling your fist to the beat, a bit like you were in Steps, seminal 90s pop band Steps. But it isn't as innocent as Steps, is it? It's all explicit, and so for the next minute, I panic about losing you. Have you already gone? Listen, I know this is life and life has to move on. It's over when you notice me sniff and start sighing and ask me if, Dad, are you crying? And yeah, I am crying. I'm not prepared for moments like these, but I'm not ready to let you go or let it show, and so I say no. I'm just trying not to sneeze. Thank you very much. Thank you. I've got a few more, and then you've got Big Over, and I've listened to Big Over in the sound check, and the sound fucking ace, so stick around for Big Over the Min. Thank you very much to Bass, thank you very much to FC United, thank you very much to, I think it's Sam, everybody that bought me. This next one's called My Kids Build Sandcastles, and hopefully you get the picture. A few more after this. It's a short one. My kids build sandcastles, their kids get shot. At lunch mine have sandwiches, their kids do not. Mine don't need bandages, theirs need a lot. I think the advantage is we live in this spot, this place on the map that we get to call home. It's no tourist trap, ain't no Paris or Rome, but water comes from the tap, and as far as I've known, we're not under attack by missile or drone. My kids have tantrums, theirs have PTSD. My kids have families who they can still see. My kids are happy like their kids long to be, and my kids watch their kids crying on TV. My kids watch their kids crying on TV. My kids watch their kids crying on TV. This next one's called Happiness is at Stake, and hopefully it's a bit cheerier than that. Don't want to clap one for that one, just think about it. Have you ever heard the folk singer? This is a bit where you might need to tell to say the fucking poem, but my very first gig was a singer called Willie Mason. He's got a song called Oxygen. Do you know the song? And there's a line in that song where he says, happiness is at stake. And I think as a poet, which sounds wanky to say, I'm not a poet, but it's apparently true, If we all bore that in mind, that, you know, happiness is at stake with everything that we did, then I think we'd be a lot happier. We'd probably be all right. I think we're all right here, the wider world. Anyway, do the fucking point play. Nobody said it, so I say it for you. Happiness is at stake. What a statement to make. As if every single step we take has the possibility to break our stride, to make us hide from the times we've been fake or the times we've lied when we just couldn't shake that feeling inside. But I've seen a homeless laugh when the rain clouds pop. I've seen sick children smiling though the pain won't stop. They'll never ring that bell and they'll never grow old, but they've still got stories to tell and tales they wish to be told about how even the murkiest of riverbeds can still yield gold. And I've seen joy in the faces of pensioners who know their days are numbered. I've seen the happiest of housewives who know that they are lumbered with belligerent old fools who'll never change their ways, they'll never cook his own food, and they never watch what he says, and these people find sunshine on the darkest of days. And now that's a lesson to all of us, and if the blessings are calling us, then maybe my atheism is misplaced. Maybe my early Catholicism has all been disgraced, and maybe the pages in my Bible have all been defaced, but happiness cannot be erased. It persists and it lingers. It exists just to bring us a smile for a while, the most excellent feeling. It can slow down decline and it can speed up healing. I wish I could find a drug dealer who dealed in dope. I mean, imagine the type of life I'd have seen if being happy was as easy as that. If it could be caught or bought or brought right back. It doesn't work like that though. Once you find it, you can't lose it. Because you can't buy happiness, no. But you can bloody well choose it. Thank you very much. I've got one more. Publishers won't come near me because I say things like I said to Robbie Savage. So I had to cut and stick my own little book here. There's a few copies there. You can have them for now. I'm going to leave them on the stage. If you want one, please come and take them. And please do, because otherwise I'll look like a right prick if they're all still there. So thank you very much. Stick around for Big Over. This one's called Stop Watching the News, and it's my number one piece of advice for all of you. Stop watching the news, it's bad for your health. You don't need the BBC to educate yourself. Sky only lie on CNN, chap your macca. Russia today is about as much use as an empty maraca. Give it a shake and it won't make a sound about the FTSE 100 or the rate of a pound. When I first heard of the idea, I thought it was crazy, that not watching the news was apathetic and lazy. Well, I gave it a go, and then, whoops-a-daisy, I felt better. I no longer felt stressed, I no longer felt depressed, I no longer struggled to get myself dressed in the morning. Honestly, there's far more productive things you can do, like watching paint dry or sticking your fingers together with glue, and both of those things will do so much more for you than watching the news. If it's something important like a war, then I'll tell you. If I need to warn you about a storm, then I'll bell you, because you don't need to believe all the stuff that they sell you and finally succumb to the blues. Stop watching the news. Thank you very much, man. Culain Wood.